a forgotten golden age. When people think of medieval Europe, they often imagine a dark and chaotic time. But in the south of Spain, something very different was happening. From the 8th to the 15th century, a region known as Al-Andalus, or Islamic Spain, became one of the most advanced societies in the world. While much of Europe struggled, cities like Córdoba, Granada, and Seville were glowing centers of science, art, and learning. This story begins in the year 711 AD, when Muslim forces crossed from North Africa into Spain. They didn't just arrive with armies, they brought books, ideas, architecture, and a new way of governing that would transform the Iberian Peninsula forever. For nearly 800 years, Muslims, Christians, and Jews lived, sometimes peacefully, sometimes tensely, under Islamic rule. Together, they created a civilization that would later help spark the European Renaissance. This is the story of Islamic Spain, its rise, its brilliance, its people, and its lasting legacy.
The arrival of Islam in Spain. Our story begins with a man named Tariq ibn Ziyad. In 711 AD, Tariq, a Berber general serving the Umayyad Caliphate, crossed the narrow strait separating North Africa from Spain. Legend says that after landing, he ordered his ships burned behind him and told his soldiers, "The enemy is before you and the sea is behind you." Whether this speech actually happened or not, the message was clear. There was no turning back. Tariq's forces soon faced the Visigothic King Roderick at the Battle of Guadalete. The battle ended in disaster for the Visigoths. King Roderick disappeared. Some say he died on this battlefield. Others believe he fled and was never seen again. With Visigothic rule collapsing, Muslim armies advanced rapidly. Cities like Toledo, Córdoba, and Seville fell one by one. But conquest alone doesn't explain their success. Many local communities were unhappy with Visigothic rulers, heavy taxation, and religious persecution. In contrast, Islamic governance allowed Christians and Jews to keep their faiths in exchange for taxes. This policy helped stabilize the region and encouraged cooperation rather than constant rebellion. Within just a few years, most of the Iberian Peninsula was under Muslim control, and Al-Andalus was born. The rise of Córdoba and the Umayyad Caliphate. One of the most fascinating figures in this story is Abd-al-Rahman I, a prince who escaped the fall of the Umayyad dynasty in the Middle East. After his family was massacred by the Abbasids, Abd-al-Rahman fled across North Africa, constantly hunted. Eventually, he reached Spain, alone, homeless, but determined. Against all odds, he seized control of Al-Andalus in 756 AD and established an independent Umayyad state. His descendants would later turn Córdoba into one of the greatest cities on earth. By the 10th century, under Abd al-Rahman III, Córdoba became the capital of a powerful caliphate. At its peak, the city had paved streets and streetlights, public baths and hospitals, libraries containing hundreds of thousands of books. While kings elsewhere bragged about castles, Córdoba bragged about knowledge. Abd al-Rahman III declared himself caliph in 929 AD, signaling that Al-Andalus was no longer a distant province. It was a rival to Baghdad and Constantinople, a city of scholars, doctors, and thinkers. Imagine walking through Córdoba around the year 1000. You might pass a Jewish physician named Hasdai ibn Shaprut, serving at the caliph's court. Fluent in multiple languages, Hasdai helped translate Greek medical texts into Arabic, texts that Europe would rediscover centuries later. Or you might encounter Al-Zahrawi, one of the greatest surgeons in history. He developed surgical tools still recognizable today and wrote medical manuals used in Europe for over 500 years. Later, in the 12th century, another giant emerged, Ibn Rushd, known in the West as Averroes. He passionately defended reason and logic, arguing that faith and science could coexist. His writings deeply influenced Christian thinkers like Thomas Aquinas. At the same time, a Jewish scholar named Maimonides forced to flee Cordoba due to political instability, would go on to become one of the most important Jewish philosophers and doctors in history. These were not isolated geniuses. They thrived because Al-Andalus encouraged debate, translation, and shared learning across cultures. Art, architecture, and the beauty of Al-Andalus. Islamic Spain wasn't just about books, it was also about beauty. The great Mosque of Cordoba, with its red and white arches, wasn't just a place of worship, it was a symbol of harmony, mathematics, and artistic mastery. Later in Granada, the Alhambra rose above the city like a poem written in stone. Its walls are covered with calligraphy that reads, "There is no victor but God." Water flowed through its courtyards. Gardens symbolized paradise, and every detail reflected a deep connection between art and spirituality. These buildings weren't designed to intimidate, they were designed to inspire. The Reconquista, a slow turning of the tide. Beginning in the 11th century, Christian kingdoms in the north began pushing south in a process known as the Reconquista. One of the most important moments came in 1212 at the Battle of Las Navas de Tolosa, where Christian forces dealt a crushing blow to Muslim power. As territories fell, life became harder for Muslim and Jewish communities. Some converted, some fled, and others lived under increasing pressure. By the late 15th century, only one Muslim kingdom remained, Granada. Its last ruler, Boabdil, surrendered the city in 1492. As he left, legend says he looked back at the Alhambra and wept. His mother supposedly told him, "Do not cry like a woman for what you could not defend like a man." With Granada's fall, nearly 800 years of Islamic rule came to an end. The lasting legacy of Islamic Spain. Even after its fall, Islamic Spain never truly disappeared. Arabic words remain embedded in Spanish, especially in agriculture, science, and architecture. Techniques in medicine, mathematics, and philosophy flowed into Europe and helped ignite the Renaissance. The buildings still stand, the ideas still matter, and the story still challenges the idea that civilizations must clash rather than collaborate. Al-Andalus reminds us that coexistence, though imperfect, can produce extraordinary beauty and knowledge. Conclusion: why this history matters. Islamic Spain was more than an empire. It was an experiment in shared civilization. It showed what can happen when cultures exchange ideas instead of destroying them. Its legacy lives on in Spain's cities, language, and identity, and in the foundations of modern Europe. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Your support helps keep stories like this alive. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next chapter of history.